So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more. So
in the United States?
In the United States, on all over the world. But from 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Solari Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. And then we systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess. This is totally a guess of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170.
So we have a good mutual friend who's been bothering me for years to interview you. You've got to interview her. I'm
Why?
so glad. Well, just because he said this is like the best informed, smartest, most reasonable, mainstream, sane person I know of you. He said this, and I was like, yeah, okay. I'm sure some people are like, well, she's obviously crazy. I should have set the stage at the beginning with your biography, like you're as mainstream. You're on the board of Sally Mae. Sally Mae, you're a partner at Dylan Reed. It's like,
right.
You're not just like on the internet.
I think basically, Ryan, that the neocons have destroyed America.
Interesting.
And they led the globalization of the unipolar model. And I think basically they have absolutely destroyed it. With the exception that, maybe there's some kind of magical space weapons that can pull the rabbit out of the hat.
We're up against people who use significant amounts of force, and they use invisible weaponry, and they do a lot from space. And so, if you look at why a prime minister would do something that is in the interest of the central banks and against his own people, it's more often than not, I believe, because he's in a variety of different squeezes, and one of them relates to this kind of weaponry.
I had an incident where someone just disappeared right almost in front of me, and I couldn't explain it. I called somebody who used to work in the intelligence agencies, and I said, do you guys have invisible man technology? And he said, yes. I was driving across the Dakotas at 3 a.m., I think it was about 2005, and literally, Richard, it was the strangest thing. There were hundreds of huge UFOs just hanging up in the sky. I don't know much about Jared Kushner other than what I've read in the newspapers. My guess is he's an extremely intelligent person. He's been raised, I think, in a serious spiritual tradition. I think he's conscientious, hardworking, very bright. I do these profiles, Carrie, where I say people are either Titanic turners, scaredy cats, pigs, or scorpions. I think Kushner is clearly a Titanic turner. And I'm lying there in bed, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, and suddenly, the little red dot from an assassin's rifle starts rolling through the room. And I was poisoned 8 times. I had 18 audits and investigations. He said, they're going to drill holes in your wall and introduce low-grade biological warfare. And I'm on the treadmill one day on the first floor, and I look at the wall, and I realize, oh, my God, there are holes in the wall. I had grown up in an African-American neighborhood, and I knew that the African-American community had the sort of spiritual technology to outwit genocide. I'd seen them do it. One of the first questions, I'll be honest, that I'm going to look at when I look at some of the communities involved is how many of the homeowners were on the P. Diddy list. What we were engaging in, particularly with the war on drugs enforcement model and prisons, was genocide. And it was basically the Nazi model moved free range. The Nazi international influence is very important. And of course, the question is, did they completely merge back into the military-industrial complex, or have they maintained independence? Which, of course, leads us to one of the big unanswered questions of 2016: what is going on in Antarctica?